What's going on, guys? This is Martyrs Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Killzone Shadow Fall. Alright guys, we are back at it after a few weeks hiatus. Basically, the last time I uploaded a Killzone Shadow Fall video, I said that I would go ahead and create a series wherein I would do short videos explaining how to complete certain challenges, online multiplayer challenges. And I'm really gonna have to apologize because, you know, that was my intent, but shortly after I came out with that video, Dark Souls 2 came out, and obviously once Dark Souls 2 came out, I pretty much completely ignored everything. So, you know, after having Dark Souls 2, playing it for a few weeks, beating the game a few times, and dabbling with the PvP, you know, I now have time to go ahead and go back to some of the games that I really enjoy. Now, as far as Dark Souls 2, you know, it's cool. For the most part, I think I'm going to wait until the patch come out before I really start to seriously get involved into it, because, you know, there's just so many things going on right now, and I think it's really best for me to just go ahead and wait until the patch come out. Right, so while doing that, I'll go ahead, dive right back into Killzone Shadow Fall, for which there is a lot of incentive to do right now, and you know, we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. But there's a lot of incentive to go ahead, pick up your Killzone Shadow Fall discs in the event that some of you guys, you know, for whatever reason, you know, maybe there have been a new game. You know, I know Infamous Second Son has been out. I know some other new games have come out. So I know some of you guys may have let Killzone Shadow Fall collect a little bit of dust, but in the meantime, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and pick up the game, brush the dust off, and go ahead and stick it back in your console. So, what is this video about? Number one, I think, you know, for a lot of you guys who have received the Insurgent pack, I would argue that the Insurgent class is overall the best class in the game. The absolute best class in the game. Now, first and foremost, let me just kind of explain what it is. There's an Insurgent pack that allows you to get certain weapons and a new class, right? And I think the price is like $9. Now, for a lot of you guys like to say, you know, oh, I'm not giving the companies $9 of my dollars because, you know, they always want money and stuff like that. Look, first and foremost, it shouldn't be about the dollar amount. $10 is reasonable. I mean, let's just be fair. To all of you, you know, fast food, McDonald's eating guys out there, $10 is basically a supersized value meal, right? So a lot of you guys do that, you know, have those beer bellies. You know, $10 is like, you know, a 6-pack if you live here in Canada, but probably like a 12-pack if you live in the States. You know, $10 is, I mean, what, like a movie ticket. $10 is kind of like, you know, alcohol, if that's your thing. $10 is, I mean, it's like interest into a club. You know, $10 in some locations is actually a lap dance, right? So for a lot of you guys want to go ahead and cry and complain that you know, you're going to have to pay $10, dude, take it all into perspective. $10 is nothing in the grand scheme of things. And in my opinion, it's worth it. Number one, it's worth it. Number two, if you really support a franchise, I think you need to support franchises with your dollars. Because granted, you know, you can get a game, you can, you know, give it reviews and good ratings and all of that. But at the end of the day, they need money to support future projects, right? Current and future projects. So go ahead, invest or not. I think it's a good investment because, I mean, personally, I really like the class, and they have a few throwback weapons in there. Okay, so aside from that, the Insurgent class. You know, now, before I got my hands on this Insurgent pack, I would argue that the support class was the best class in the game. It had good abilities, really good weapons, and basically you could control the battlefield. And in my opinion, that was the largest benefit. The tactical placement of beacons, and you know, for a lot of you guys who have viewed and listened to commentaries on some of my past Killzone videos, I'm pretty much I'm pretty sure that you guys are familiar with how I stand. The tactical placement of spawn beacons pretty much can make or break a game. Pretty much make or break a game, right? So as long as you got some guys who are experienced, they know the maps, and they understand the importance of spawn beacons, like, unless your team just suck with their aiming, like, you cannot lose. Now, there's some other people who run assault all the time, and they would basically argue that assault is the best class because they also have good abilities in addition to great weapons. I mean, think about it. You have the Keyser or the Kaiser, no matter how you pronounce it, which has very low recoil, high rate of fire, and good underbarrel attachments. You also have the Rumbler, which have the same benefits. Right, you get a slightly longer range as far as your rounds are concerned, but it, like I said before, it has low recoil, high rate of fire, and good underbarrel attachments. As far as the abilities, you have the primary ability, which is a good incentive. You have the stun burst, which is great, especially when you're dealing with flanking groups. And you also have the speed boost, which you see a lot of people using, especially when you start talking about competitive play. Now, I'm not really going to say too much about the buddy drone because, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of times when I see people using the buddy drone, I don't know if they're using it because they're trying to upgrade it. But me personally, the buddy drone, I can do without it. I'll just put it to you that way. So, a lot of people, some people will argue that the assault class is the best class. Others will argue that, the support class is the best class, for which I would have agreed with that before the Insurgent pack. I would argue that the Insurgent class is the best class in the game because it has endless possibilities. Endless. Now, let me explain what it is. It's basically a scavenger and a thief. It's basically all it is. Scavenger, why do I say that? Because number one, you start off with handgun pistols. You get the punt. You get all the pistols. You start off only with pistols and you scavenge. So in other words, you just go around, whatever weapons are laying around, you can pick them up. And in addition to that, you can, once you kill a player, you can steal their abilities and you can hack their in-placed automata, whatever they call it. So in other words, you can hack their ground support turrets. You can hack their spawn beacons. Anything that is emplaced on the ground, pretty much you can hack it, which is awesome in my personal opinion. Awesome. Now, the fact that you have to scavenge, it kind of comes with some downsides. One downside is the fact that you have to stick with whatever site the user uses. Now, one thing I don't like about that is the fact that, okay, granted, let's just say I've earned all of the sites, right? So the basic red dot, the hollow or halo, however you pronounce it, or the ACOG site. And in some cases you have other sites depending upon what weapons you have. Now let's just say you've earned them all. Now I do agree you shouldn't be able to put on a better site. What I don't agree with is the fact that you can't remove a site, right? In other words, let's just think about a battlefield. Let's just say you're out in a battlefield, there's dead enemies everywhere. You've run out of rounds with your own particular weapon, and you notice a weapon that is similar to your own. You want to pick it up off the ground and use it. Now, let's just say the weapon that you find on the ground, let's just say it doesn't have the sight that you're more comfortable with. So you look around in the immediate area and you notice, holy shit, like this is the only weapon of its kind in this area. But I hate this sight. I mean, is it really realistic that you can't remove the sight? It's not realistic. You should be able to remove the sight. That's one of my main gripes with the Insurgent class, that you can't remove a sight. And I think that should be an option. Now, why is sight preference important? At least to me, right? Because I don't know about anyone else. I know there's a lot of people who are very diverse as far as using different sites and their experience in all of them. Me, like I said before, I pretty much use red dots. And the reason why is because it doesn't obstruct your view. when you're dealing with big bulky weapons, like let's just say the Stova, like you still have a good line of sight. You don't have any issues. But I've noticed, and using this class, a lot of times I'll pick up, let's just say, hey, since we're talking about the Stova, let's just say the Stova. Some guys will have like an ACOG sight on the Stova. Now, granted, I'm not the best player out there, but the Stova is already big and bulky. And for someone to have an ACOG sight on top of that, it just makes the field of view worse, in my personal opinion, at least for me, right? So that's the only thing I hate as far as trying to scavenge weapons. You can't deselect the sight. One other drawback, which, it's not, this is kind of nitpicky, but it's still kind of like a downside. Once again, it's not a major downside, but it is one. Okay, so the weapon that you use, whatever ammo that you get, like once it runs out, it runs out. And this is even after you die and respawn. So in other words, if you don't run into an ammo crate, you're going to have to go ahead and find either another weapon, of the similar class. And I think, now I'm not really sure, like in other words, if I hold a rumbler, let's just say I run out of ammo and then I find another rumbler. I don't know if that rumbler would be replaced or if I would just get the ammo for it. So I'm not really sure. I'm not going to put that out there. But either way it go, let's just say I steal the weapon of a person who's been getting a lot of kills. And let's just say at the time that I scavenged their weapon, they have like 16 rounds left. And let's just say 1 second later I die. Well, guess what? I'm not going to respawn with a full magazine. I'm still going to have 16 rounds. Now, the reason why I say that's kind of nitpickish is because at least it keeps consistent with the theme of being a scavenger. So in other words, it ensures that I'm not sitting back and sticking with one weapon. So is it nitpickish? Yeah. But at the same time, it is annoying. But, like I said before, since it does keep consistent with the whole theme, it's not really a problem. Because as you guys will notice throughout the gameplay, that I am always, going over fallen enemies, checking out what weapons are there and whatnot. So aside from that, the fact that you have endless possibilities, you can choose to steal all abilities from a downed player or some of their abilities. Which is, dude, I've had a combination where I've run speed boost, stun blast rather, speed boost, stun blast, and the sickle shotgun. Dude, I was beasting fools with that combination. Think about it. Speed boost, stun blast, and a sickle. Let's just say I was getting a lot of kills during that particular playthrough. But anyway, and you have the ability to put all these combinations together. Dude, there's so many times where, let's just say I fall into a support guy and I steal his spawn beacon. So once I drop the spawn beacon, there's no reason for me to sit there and sit on the spawn beacon. Because, at least I have another spawn beacon for my team to use. So guess what? I replace the spawn beacon with something else. So let's just say I run up on somebody and I have a stun blast. Okay, so I run around, stun blast people. Now, another thing, you don't have infinite uses. You definitely have a few uses, and I think there's 3 uses. Like if you guys can pay attention to the left side of the screen where my shield is, you guys will notice like there's these 2 or 3 tick marks. Those 2 or 3 tick marks represent the times that I'm able to use it. So once those tick marks are over, you lose the ability, which is no problem because like I said before, it keeps consistent with the theme that you have to constantly scavenge and steal abilities, scavenge weapons and steal abilities. So aside from not having the option to deselect sites, the possibilities are so endless. All you have to do is remember the icons, for which, I think if you're a relatively experienced player, you should memorize most icons. But as long as you memorize the icons and you kind of set priority to things and you kind of have an idea, okay, my first priority is a spawn beacon. I'm going to try to find a fallen soldier who's a spawn, who has a spawn beacon ability. Okay, after that, maybe I need to find a ground support turret, find the ideal location for that, drop the ground support turret, Maybe after that, I'm just going to go ahead and get some assault class options. You know, may it be speed boost and stun blast or shield or whatever the case may be. Because if you guys notice, look what I'm doing now. Okay, so I just stole the ground support turret. What am I doing it? Okay, setting it at their base. Good to go. So next time I find an ability that I want to use, do I really need my ground support turret right now? I mean, not really. Now keep in mind, I haven't really played the class enough to know that while my ground support turret is active, do I lose it if I replace it or not? I still need to do a little homework. Like I said before, I only had a few hours to play on this class because I've been dabbling with other games. But, it's just going to take a little more time for me to go ahead and get all the facts regarding this class. But so far, I love it. Can't go wrong with it. Now, the downside to getting this Insurgent pack is the fact that, whereas we started off with like 1595 or somewhere like that, challenges, then we got two expansion pack maps, which tacked on like another 100 or so. But now that we have the Insurgent pack, there are a total of 2,200 plus challenges, right? So more than 2,200 challenges. Dude, that is crazy. I'll be chasing after challenges for a long time. So that's pretty much it as far as the Insurgent class. So I'll be coming up with more videos for Killzone Shadow Fall. I hope you guys enjoyed this short commentary. And until next time, Martyrs Brigade is